Chains rattle broken, now we rise. Flag in my hand, stars burn the skies. Truth ain't dead, though the liars try. They scream loud, but the words all die. Guys watching hands, raise to the throne. Freedom ain't free, blood built this home. Continue freedom, keep it alive. Red, white, blue, we bleed to survive. Continue freedom, keep it alive. Land of the free, ain't bending the knee. Truth in my veins, it's all I see. Patriots roar, no fear in the fight. Continue freedom, stand in the light.
Okay, welcome back to Continue Freedom. You got the number 2 on the like button, Benjamin. All right, we've already got people in the comments here. I got to bring up some of this one. So, got to give credit. Benjamin, he was first in the hopper tonight. That was great. Megan, I know everybody loves the song. And I get so many people that ask me, where'd this song come from? And I think I've told, you might have been the one that asked me this. I forget who it was. It's AI. I'm not ashamed to admit that I used AI prompts to make that song. So anyway, we've got a great show tonight, guys. You saw from the thumbnail that this is something I've been thinking about for a long time, and I've probably communicated it to some degree or another on this show. But it's the tactics that are being used. In some cases, it's policy. When I talk about Nick Fuentes, I think some of it is a policy thing. He talked about us giving up on the free market, giving in to free healthcare and free education and all of these things. These are lefty policies. But I think it's important. I'm going to start off with something that's not about those people. It's a reminder, I think, to all of us. Again, I'm imparting motive. I don't know the motive of this, so do not take this to the bank. But we know the left has been the party of violence. This is the trend that's been set. This is what we know to be true. From Charlie Kirk to the Summer of Love to businesses, small businesses, buildings being burned to the ground, generational businesses being burned to the ground. And then coincidentally, Melissa Hortman was the only Democrat to vote against providing taxpayer-funded health care for illegal immigration or illegal immigrants in Minnesota. And her vote decided the outcome, and then shortly thereafter, she was taken out. Now, the people are speculating. Again, I'm going to be very clear, this is speculation. People are saying that's the case, but it had also been planned for a very long time. So it didn't hinge on that one vote, like she did that and that. But look, we are facing violence from people who do not fall, from people who want us to fall in line. So I reiterate this to say, who should be our actual opponent? And it should be the left, but it's not about us simply defeating them. It's also about changing their minds. We have to bring people over to the left. And the people that I listed in the thumbnail, I don't think are doing that. I don't think they are capable of doing that. I put Myron Gaines in the thumbnail as well. He definitely is not. In fact, I heard a commentator, a guy who I know, say that he could be a unifier, and under no circumstances should we unify around him or Nick Fuentes or anybody like that, in my opinion. So the reason I'm going to say the left. So the left they've got the reputation from us, the reputation that the left has with us is that they pretend to be other things. They pretend to be what they are not. They're these chameleons that are, they change their ideas, they change their policies, they change their stances, they'll lie and then come back and say, no, I didn't mean it that way or whatever. They turn on a dime. They pretend to be other genders. They bounce from one moral reality or one more level of morality to the other. They are racist. The left is racist at its very core. CRT is racist policy. But the people on our side are using those same tactics. They have resorted to identity politics, which I hate. I loathe identity politics. And they're being chameleons. We're going to talk about Candace Owens tonight. She's public enemy number one when it comes to changing her story and redacting things. But she's done the same thing. It's the same play card. And then you get into a Nick Fuentes or a Myron Gaines, and it's playing into identity politics. And identity politics is, this putting one melanin. It basically reduces you down to melanin, in some cases culture, but saying one is superior to the other. Our problem, actual conservatives, our problem is illegal immigration, and we leave it at that. The melanin, the ethnicity, none of that stuff matters to us. And in fact, I get my worldview from biblical principles, and biblical principles tell me that I don't judge someone on immutable characteristics. I just don't. But that's how they want us to shape our politics, and I don't think it's healthy for the future of America. But they use this moniker of, oh, well, it's America first. What do you and I just ask them, what do you think the left is doing? The left is saying, we care about this country, or we want to change this country, and it's just as important. So the left, they think it's just as important to America to trans the kids, make the kids gay, make them watch the drag queen story hour, demonize white people as these people, basically drawing lines along race, or drawing morality along racial lines. Other ethnicities are less than, melanin matters, that sort of thing. And they are also the same in that they want to fundamentally change America as a whole, and not just change it. They want to change it at its core, which is at the constitutional level. And if you follow the policies of people like a Nick Fuentes, of a Myron Gaines, of a Tucker Carlson in some cases, that's exactly what you have to do. And I'm not down with that. I think we have to move back to the biblical principles that honestly that shaped our country. But we also have to, it's not something that's going to be changed constitutionally. But constitutionally, I mean, look, Myron Gaines. I'm going to play a couple of clips from him. Before I go further, let me play a couple of clips from him, and then I'm going to get into his conversation with Candace Owens. Listen to this.
We pedestalize women way too much. Outside of sex and having children, women are effectively useless for society. Let's be very honest here.
No,
right?
That's evil, man.
No, I'm being honest here, because let's look around here. The cameras, the lights, all these different structures that are built. Men build all of that. Women don't build anything. They just move in. And this is considered a very taboo thing to kind of understand that men are superior to women in almost every way. And we have to be, because men have to add value to society. Women don't.
Okay, so his view on women is very clear. I've got one more clip. Let me play this other one because I want to make the point before we get into his conversation with Candace Owens.
Why?
Because women are... I wish there was a fuck no for this.
Why?
Sorry for the language.
Because women are useless friends. Remember I said women suck at everything? One of the things they suck at is being friends.
Here we go again.
If a guy's in a friend zone by a woman,
yeah,
she does not respect him.
of course you can respect them.
When a woman friend zones you guys, it effectively means you are not sexually attractive to me, and I do not want to procreate and or carry your lineage.
So he reduces this. Look, and again, for as crude as he is, there's way worse stuff that I could actually play on Myron Gaines, but I'm not going to, because I do try to keep this show PG-13, so I apologize for not having everything bleeped. But this was him talking to Candace Owens. Check this out. This is, golly, here we go.
Brief here. We're all here for the same reason, right? We all don't believe the official narrative is someone that used to work for the federal government and understands how investigations work. This, the official narrative has created more questions than answers. And Candace, kudos to you for going out there and trying to find those answers. And I think it's very important that people understand that when you're doing investigations, you're going to go down many different roads, right? You're going to talk to bad informants that might have ulterior motives. You're going to talk to people that are going to give you misleading information. You're going to do a record check here, and it might lead you somewhere that was completely not relevant to what's going on. The thing that sucks here is that you're doing this investigation with millions of people watching you, and they're going to, try to say, oh, well, you didn't do this and you didn't do that, blah, blah, blah. The benefit, right, of being a criminal investigator a lot of the times is we work in the shadows, we do our investigation, we go down many different holes, then we come down with an indictment and arrest warrant after we connect everything. Unfortunately, right, for you, Candace, you have a bunch of critics that want to sit there and say, well, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. I think you've done a great job of trying to find the truth, and people are going to criticize and talk shit, and I think we're all here for the same reasons. The official narrative doesn't add up. They haven't been transparent, and that's why people are doing their own independent investigation. And the federal government's failed with being transparent with the people, and the people don't trust the government anymore. This is really an L for the G. So keep doing what you're doing. I know people are going to hate, and I think your heart's in the right place, and you're really trying to find answers here. And yeah, there's going to be, roads that sometimes don't lead where it's supposed to go, or roads that may be questionable, but I think talking to everybody and trying to get the full picture and being transparent about it is the way to go. So,
okay, so the reason I play this clip is because he is blowing sunshine up Candace Owens' backside. Why? Because it's profitable for him. It's good for viewership. It's good for his followers. But if you listen to the bulk of his content, Candace Owens has no business doing what she's doing. According to him, she's entirely useless and has no, and which I somewhat agree with that. This is the whole purpose, almost the whole purpose of this video, is to say these people are being destructive. But he will back up and say, no. If it's profitable for me, if it's beneficial for me, I will most definitely get in line with the Candace Owens types. And I do have to add one quick caveat to this. Myron talked about what it takes to do an investigation and to go through that whole process. Interestingly enough, he didn't mention the fact that the FBI never does this in the public. Why? For the very same reason that we've been criticizing Candace Owens. People who aren't involved are being implicated by simply mentioning them because she's, and her alluding to it. You can't, these things are done in secret to protect the people who are innocent, who may have some ancillary connection that is entirely irrelevant to the overall conviction or to the overall crime or to the, to the overall investigation. So he's saying, yeah, keep doing it. It's good because you're going to run down some rabbit holes here and you're going to run down some rabbit holes there. Yeah. And that's the very reason that the FBI does not, or local law enforcement, whoever, doesn't come out and say, here's all the people. Here's John Jones. And John Jones was on this place at this date and this time. I don't know. Maybe John Jones, well, you'll figure it out, right? This is what she's doing. And Myron Gaines says, I think it's great because he, just like a lot of other people, gets bought into the story of it. It's I don't trust the federal government. Fine. We're not supposed to fully trust the federal government. But he's also buying into the drama and the narrative and the clicks and all that nonsense. So that in and of itself is destructive. But I will go back to what I was saying before. He spends this whole 4.5 minute segment here on her spaces blowing sunshine up the backside of somebody who 90% of his content that's relevant to women would say she has no business doing this and serves no other value to society. So now I will say also, and I know the comments are blowing up. Golly, we've got a lot of comments. I'm going to get to the comments, guys. You know that I will. I always do towards the end. I've been trying to ignore them so I don't get sidetracked. But anyway, the hypocrisy, this is the identity politics that the left has been using. Myron Gaines and other folks have come out and said that they won't vote for J.D. Vance because he's married to, in their terms, a Jeet, as they say, which is a slang term for an Indian person. And we're going to get to Clavicular, who is a new Groyper influencer that is, he's made some wild accusations saying that, Charlie Kirk would still be alive if he was better looking. And saying that he's going to vote for Gavin Newsom because Gavin Newsom has a better jawline. I mean, this is legit stuff. People, like, lots of young people are listening to this trash. But let's get back to the Candace Owens piece. So Myron Gaines playing the identity politics, all that stuff, destructive, leftist tactics. Kudos for his service at DHS. But since he's gotten out, this vile content has been feeding this divide on the right. And I don't think it's something we can draw long-term policies from. I'm sorry, it's not feasible. It's not feasible for us to do that. It makes no sense, not to mention that it's making moral compromises. If we start saying, all right, well, yeah, I think that we shouldn't elect this person because he's married to, as you would call them, a Jeet, Myron Gaines. It's the same thing that the left says when they say we've got too many white people. We've got too many white people in leadership positions. We need to hire more black people. Or we need to hire more of this. And then you start getting into quotas. Well, Candace, she's been doing the identity politics thing. I played in, it was a few live streams ago. She was talking about she played the race card. She played several live streams ago. She played the race card, played the victim because she's a woman. She's a feminist, right? So she's played the feminist card. But then she brought on the Mitch guy. And this Mitch guy was wildly discredited. This is Morgan Ariel. So this is, I talked about her in the last live stream. She is has been a staunch Candace supporter. And this is, actually, before I play that one, let me go down here. I'm getting ahead of myself. The one I really wanted to bring up is Evan Kilgore. Evan Kilgore has been the Candace fanboy of Candace fanboys. And he wrote this diatribe on his X account basically saying, I wanted to get on here and say something. I know I'm not going to read this whole thing, So bear with me here. I want to get on here to say something and know I will open myself up to thousands of hate comments for it. This is okay with me. What I want to let you all know is that after a great deal of thought and conviction, I can no longer support the direction of real Candace Owens investigation. I have always been interested in possible alternative narratives to Charlie Kirk's assassination. I have likely been her biggest supporter on X, sharing her clips and watching her show every day since Charlie Kirk's death. Many of her questions, concerns, criticisms I've agreed with. In fact, virtually all of them until Mitch Snow. So she brought on the Mitch Snow guy. People started poking holes in that story right away. And these people jumped ship because they realized she was probably going to double down on it. Candace then comes out and calls out Evan Kilgore because Evan Kilgore, I guess, betrayed her in some shape, form, or fashion. But here's the thing. If these people, like, and this is where I'll bring up Morgan Ariel. Morgan Ariel, she really got on board the anti-Israel, the whole Jewish conspiracy sort of thing. And it's interesting. So... all of the Zionists got the call and are coming out to smear Candace Owens at the same time. We know who cuts your checks. But then at the same time, she'll say, there's this strange phenomenon online where people accuse you of being paid or sold out if you hold a difference in opinion. These aren't principled people. This is the point I want to make. They aren't principled people. Anybody with an IQ above their shoe size would know that what Candace Owens is doing is wrong. What Candace Owens is doing is destructive, it's dishonest, and it's misleading millions and millions and millions of people. They didn't because they bought into the clicks. They bought into the clicks that help their channel, that help their X accounts, all this nonsense. And then they will turn on a dime. But not to mention, they don't have the foresight to say, I've been sitting here criticizing people for taking $7,000 checks. But then they play the victim. They turn around and say, oh, but now everybody's saying that I'm getting paid. I'm getting Qatari money, or I'm getting this money, or I'm getting that money. I give some kudos to Evan Kilgore, but look, every post that Evan Kilgore has made has been, OS, Candace just dropped another bombshell. OS, Candace just dropped another bombshell. And when she finally got out over her skis with Mitch Snow, they say, okay, well, now I got to turn on her now. And this is the point that I try to do this. I try my hardest to do this. If our positions aren't principled, then we're subject to the whims of people who don't have them. And that's honestly what I get from a lot of these commentators. These are not principled people. And again, Candace Owens is a prime example of just because you have a ton of followers, it doesn't mean that you are a legitimate person. In fact, there's an account that I just happened to come across. And this person has posted 2 videos. And it's going to feed into what we're talking about tonight. This person has posted 2 videos. Those are the only 2 videos, 2,000 subscribers, and a combined about 80, I think it was about 90,000 views. So 90,000 views in one day, all from a person that amazingly got 2,000 subscribers at the drop of a hat. Why? Because all of this stuff is being pushed by the very people that I mentioned at the beginning, the very ones that we are in a political, we're fighting with. I mean, it's a fight. It's really what it is, not a literal one, but a figurative fight. And when YouTube is pushing it, that it should kind of be scratching our heads. And do you guys see where I'm coming from? I can't wait to get to all these comments. There's a boatload of them. I love the comments. It's like it's enticing. I see it over here, and I'm like, oh, I want to engage. But we're going to get through some more stuff. I want to talk about the revisionist side of this as well. So Candace is a revisionist historian, and she does it. I mean, it's obviously for personal gain and to kind of a CYA sort of deal. But if you don't follow him, Nathan Livingstone, Milk Bar TV, a definite go-to. The guy's mashups are just, it's amazing. It's amazing. I hope he's doing this for a living because he certainly spends a lot of time on it. But let's listen to this little mashup and then we'll talk about it.
How come we haven't seen anything about his burial? We saw so much and then we saw nothing. And the reason that's like a big hush-hush secret is because Charlie had a Catholic funeral mass and he is buried in a Catholic cemetery.
But pre the meeting with Erica, you repeatedly questioned why we weren't being told where Charlie Kirk is buried, or even if he has been buried yet. Did you get those answers?
You have the wrong commentator who questioned that. I think that was Milo Yiannopoulos.
You've never questioned, you've never asked where Charlie's buried?
Nope.
Yeah, but if this were on the left and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes.
Of murdering her own husband?
She's accusing TPUSA insiders and other members of the right wing, including Seth Dillon, of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk, yes.
It's just, I don't even know how to respond to it because it just never happened. Realizing that nothing in Charlie's life was real. It's just something that keeps me up at night. Just nothing in his life was real. The assassination of Charlie Kirk was something akin to a regicide, right? The assassination of a king to install a new ruler who the king would have never approved of. It's so crazy.
She has accused us of lying about Charlie wanting Erica to take over for him if he died.
Never happened. And it just so happened that Charlie Kirk kept notebooks and diaries. He was so diligent that he wrote down his succession plan featuring who he wanted to take over for the organization in the event of his untimely death. Like, you know, in the third notebook, he was like, oh, and if I accidentally get shot on campus, here's what you should do. Call Erica. And then after you call Erica, come find this notebook. And if during this process of our imagination, common sense comes on and we're like, oh, but wait, Charlie, wasn't he like a boy genius? He's a pretty bright kid. Wouldn't he have maybe formalized that succession plan outside of like a diary? But no, he wanted to put it in these notebooks. And then the plan was to guilt us, I think, to try to haunt us with the ghost of Charlie's notebooks that we're never going to be allowed to read, but we're supposed to accept that they most definitely read. Like, for sure. Never happened. I knew it was big. I didn't have the players. I certainly didn't suspect Turning Point USA would be, as I believe, involved in a cover-up. And we can talk about what the motives are of that. They could be financial motives. It doesn't necessarily mean they were involved in plotting to kill him. And I've never said that. Cam Higbee is on the payroll of Turning Point USA beginning in August of this year. So in theory, Cam Higbee, who was laughing off the idea of an assassination attempt, is being paid by the very organization that just had its leader assassinated in broad daylight in front of the entire world. He doesn't necessarily...
I have to point out that jacket, somebody made a comment, the one on the right, that floral jacket, that's an $1,100 jacket. That's impressive. Good for her and her success.
Really mean they were involved in plotting to kill him. And I've never said that. I was in this aggrieved stage and I really didn't poke my head up until weeks later when I could stop crying about it every second. Charlie Kirk, my friend, is dead. First, this is fantastic that Preborn is doing this. To remind you guys about Pure Talk. Also remind you guys about American financing. Also remind you guys about...
Anyway, so you get the idea that it's the rewrite, this rewriting of history. And I started looking, I was like, I thought, the left has been doing this for a very long time. That it's revisionist history on a massive scale. When you talk about tearing down historical statues and putting up whatever they want to put up, that supports their own ideals, ideology, whatever. But I just found there were random clips here. Like this is
what is transgenderism?
Here we go. This is one about transgenderism, and it was on Jubilee. It was with Michael Knowles.
What it look like to you?
Watch.
It's allowing men to be treated for the purposes of the law as women. It's men taking 900 sports trophies from women in recent years.
And they didn't take 900.
They took 900. There's a report just came out from the United Nations, actually. 890 trophies and medals across 600 women who were competitors, across 29 different sports and 400 competitions. That came out like yesterday.
And they deserved them.
It didn't happen, and they deserve them. Okay, that is the logic I hear from the pro-trans crowd.
And it's what you hear from the left, and it's what you hear from certain people on the right, that the definitive statements made and then outright denying them later on or changing the narrative, say, no, you took that out of context. It must be maddening for people like Candace and others to, keep the lies together in their own mind and to live on that just The simple solution, by the way, is for them just to be honest. But they bounce around like, okay, what lie did I say? Did I say that? Just deny it. You just deny it. And then later on your show in front of millions of people, you can say that it never happened. And too many of them aren't going to validate this. But thank goodness for people like Nathan Livingstone, a Milk Bar TV. I should have tagged him in this video because he shows the receipts. And yeah, this is revising the story, revising the narrative. If you're honest, it's just easier to say, yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said. And if you said something wrong, say, yeah, I misspoke about that one. I shouldn't have said that. It's not complicated. It's really not. But it is for them when you're trying to shape a narrative that's dividing a movement that was positive at one point in time. And she's done it again. Here we go. Here's the next one. So this one, it blew my mind. Here we go.
General demeanor is starting to make me think that there's something there, right? The Fort Huachuca thing, it's definitively compelling, I would say. I am learning also that Fort Huachuca has ties to Liberty University, and
there it is. There it is. Liberty University. Now we've got somebody else to focus on. All right, internet sleuths, go out there and worry about that. The Mitch Snow thing, that was an anomaly. And she went back. I'm going to play a little bit from her X Spaces. I know I'm really focusing a lot on Candace, but I'm going to get to Alex Jones, who's been doing, I've said this before. I've not been a monstrous Alex Jones fan. However, he's kind of been on a roll lately. I enjoy the guy. I mean, he's entertaining. But let me play this X Spaces video when one of Alex's guys came out and started questioning Candace. Let's check this out.
It's good to hear from people who disagree with us. So Harrison, if you want to unmute yourself and jump in, that would be great.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I guess my whole thing is, why does this meeting even matter? Like, what is the actual claim that's being made here? That's been my confusion the whole point, the whole time, is like, okay, let's say that there's absolute proof, photographic evidence that everything that Snow says is true. Like, who cares? I mean, what does that prove? What is the actual accusation? Who do you think was conspiring with who to do what? Yeah. And I think, obviously the name of the episode was, the day before Charlie Kirk was murdered. The insinuation is that this was a assassination planning meeting, which I don't even see any evidence of that. And then people I'm arguing with online are saying, no, this has nothing to do with the assassination. Yeah. So, I guess, if the space is why this matters, why does Fort Huachuca even matter? Like, what is the claim being made? I still don't even understand that.
So it matters because why would Brian Harpole be on Fort Huachuca at all, right? It matters because he's giving an alibi, which means he doesn't want to be associated. Like, it could have easily not mattered, kind of, to speak to your credit. He could have been like, yeah, I was at Fort Huachuca with my brother, and my brother's in the military, I was dropping off some food. Okay, like that could have been then suddenly a dead end. That would have been nothing. Now, because Mitch had described this as a top secret meeting in an off-site building and had described this as top brass at the Pentagon and said that these sorts of meetings, and I am forgetting the military term, are when you're just about to embark on like a mission. I know I sound really uneducated, but military guys will sound better saying that. It was compelling. Like, okay, like I said, Brian Harpole was acting funny. He's been acting weird. He's been telling verifiable lies, and he cared enough to present an alibi, meaning he didn't want people to think he was there, right? So if you have to give someone an alibi, it's because you don't want people to think that you're there. An alibi is not needed if there's nothing to hide. So that's why it matters. I think that's why it matters. And this reaction.
So because he answered the question, when people accused him of being somewhere, and he said, no, I was actually in this place, that by her definition is some form of admission of guilt, or is at least very suspicious.
Rather than being forthcoming is why it suddenly feels like, okay, this is important, because no one's acting normal. No one's just like, oh yeah, cool, he was there. Like, it also is, as we have now learned, it's an intel base. He was telling the truth about exactly what building it was. I didn't name the building on my show because I wasn't sure if that would be like a national security problem, but it just happened to be that JTF was borrowing that offsite building, and it was supposed to be a top secret meeting for those purposes. Somebody that was involved in blacking out the windows had sent us a tip. Again, it's how people are reacting to the meeting that lets us know that it's important.
Okay. I mean, I guess
regarding the hotel, I never said it was important. Like I said, my perspective was there's 1,000 different reasons that she could have been at that base. Her mother has a contract or had a contract, has a contract with the DOD. Erica has been open about her mother's ties to the military in the past. She actually did an interview and said that she moved to Arizona because her mother had a contract with the military. So again, weird thing is when Andrew's like, Erica wasn't in some fort, as if he's never heard of Fort Huachuca. His brother is in the military. His brother.
Just because your brother's in the military doesn't mean that you know what Fort Huachuca was. I couldn't remember where Fort Huachuca was. I've heard of Fort Huachuca, and I spent 20 years in the military. I'm like, I don't know. Like, where is Fort Huachuca? I've never been to Fort Huachuca. It's not one you think about. You think about Bragg, Campbell. Well, they've changed all the names now, but I still call them Bragg, Campbell, Stewart, Drum, Polk, whatever.
Fort, as if he's never heard of Fort Huachuca.
Hood.
His brother is in the military. His brother is.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, it feels.
Let me get
an answer. Like, okay, let's just say you're right. Let's just say that absolutely they were there.
Yeah.
What does that prove? What is the accusation? Because what it sounds like, and I mean, what the insinuation obviously is that this was a planning meeting for the assassination, and the people there had pre-knowledge of the assassination, and they were therefore in on it. So I think that if you are making that accusation, which in effect you are, right? You're in effect saying, okay, Erica Kirk and the head of TPUSA security were at this pre-assassination planning meeting.
Erica was there, so you guys have to stop repeating that. It's Erica was never at that meeting. And that's another thing. I've never said Erica was at the meeting. Mitch has never said Erica was at that meeting. There was never an indication she was at that meeting. He did not see her on September 9th. It was Brian Harpole who was at that meeting. To my knowledge, Brian Harpole, I don't know why he would be at an intel base at a meeting with top brass. And what I can tell you is if he was there, Turning Point doesn't know he was there.
She says, okay, look, this is the nuance of it. She's saying, I can't tell you, I don't know why he would be there, why he would be at this place with all these brass, right? And people who are interested in this say, yeah, I wonder why he was there. And she's saying, if he was there, that's kind of like the side-eye thing. If he was there, if he happened to be there, if what he said was true, I don't know why he would be there. Why in the world is Brian? Why is he? So it's telling the story while kind of out the corner of your mouth saying, well, this might be complete
according to
nonsense.
Erica and Justin Strife, who I sat down for 4.5 hours. So if Turning Point has him on their payroll and they've outright purchased the security. Saying we don't know.
I need to get to the other guy asking questions because she gets.
Okay, so Erica Kirk was not there. You don't believe that Erica Kirk was there at all.
She wasn't there on the 9th. She was not seen on the 9th. It's not about whether I believe she was there. She wasn't seen on the 9th. That was never said. He never said it. I never said it.
Okay, but she was seen on the 8th.
Yes, and not at the Intel meeting, not in the Intel, headquarters or whatever building they were using. She was not seen.
Okay, now, I thought this one was shorter. I pulled the long version of it. Either way, it comes to the end, and she's like, "Okay, we're going to get to somebody else." Like he's asking questions. Of all these accusations that you're making, where are you going with this? And she never answers the question, and in fact, cuts him off. Again, in my opinion, another leftist tactic because she is this is the guy that was doing this video or that was in this spaces with her, works for Alex Jones. They are definitely beefing right now, to say the least. And this is, let me play this clip from Alex Jones. I have to play through the first part of it because he, again, I try to keep it PG-13, guys, in case you got kids in the house. Let me see here.
Let me give Candace up there on some hill and tell me who ate the cabbage. You don't sit there and tell me what to give you or what to do. You are suspect. You have the left boosting you, the left loving you, the left promoting you with your royal husband, who we're about to expose. So get ready for that, George. So we figured you out. We got your number, and you can't stand the fact that you've run this big psyop, and now it's coming to an end. This isn't about protecting TPUSA or Trump or anybody. It's about protecting the truth. And it's about us not sitting there dancing to the Pied Piper's lie of what you've done. Like I said, I got to investigate her now. I got a bad feeling. I didn't have a bad feeling. God gave me a good brain. I already knew. I dropped the ball. I apologize. She's a globalist agent. I dropped the ball and I failed you, and I'm sorry. I got to follow my gut every time. It's never wrong. And I saw so much more she did. And I love her people threatening me and all their doxing of people and all that. You think that's going to make me go away? All you did was wake me up like a nuclear test site waking up Godzilla. So just get your asses ready. Because you want a war, I want your war, I want it all, I want the doxing, I want the lies, I want the attacks, I'm going to take you on. Because you work for the deep state and the Democratic Party and the CIA and MI6, and I see your ass. So you just get ready.
Okay, so he obviously, this fired him up, which is interesting. But look, does he have, this is the thing, his response is an emotional response, which you get a lot of times from, from Alex. But do we have this? Now people are going to take it and run with it and say that she is MI6 or that her husband is MI6 or that she is CIA, that she's part of the deep state, that is it possible? I mean, I suppose, but we don't have any evidence of that. The evidence that is the most clear right now is that she's just a muckraker. She is an old school, muckraking, zero moral principles, perfectly comfortable lying to people, and a narcissist. She suffers from narcissistic personality disorder or something. That's the only thing that can explain the course that she has been on for the past 3 months. And this is what I don't want to happen is I don't want ego to kill us. Our egos, everybody gets egos. Everybody's got a little bit of ego. But when you get online and people are getting puffed up by, millions and millions of people retweeting them or commenting or doing whatever, I could see how that would be. I mean, my channel's small, but I've had videos 10,000 views, 15,000 views, and you get a rush from it. But you can't ever let yourself think that you're right all the time, or can't let yourself think that you can't be, that you can just go out there and run with whatever comes off the top of your head. The way I try to approach stuff is to read it. I'm I like a big picture. I mean, I love the details, but you can kind of see how the culture and how politics are being shaped and moved and all that. But you can follow Candace. She's obviously a very public figure. The things she said are very public, and there's a lot of internet sleuths out there that are helping us dissect these things. And I try to bring it together into a 1-hour show that I can share with you folks. But I'm not going to go out and accuse Candace Owens of being MI6. I don't have any evidence of that. It's really weird the way that they met, her and her husband. But do people meet like that? Yeah, sometimes. Now, he's also got a huge research team. He's got access to a lot of people. He's got a ton of resources. If he has evidence of that, that's fine. But what I don't want this to turn into is mudslinging from one side to the other and making baseless accusations. Because that's not going to help the movement either. Everybody's ticked off at each other right now. And everybody's latching onto somebody who's going to be the next one. It's like this power vacuum that we created on the right. And now people, and I'm not saying Alex is doing this. I'm definitely not saying Alex is doing this. But people like Candace Owens or Nick Fuentes or Myron Gaines or whoever, these people are trying to jump into into that power vacuum and say, my ideas are the ones that we need to go with now. So they create the problem, much like the left. They create problems that they themselves have the solution, for which they themselves have the solution. I think I said that right. So anyway, I hope that we can, I don't know. I hope that we can find some sort of, I don't want to say common ground. We're going to have, this is what I'm always careful to say, that we're going to have disagreements over here on the right because we are a big tent. But the moral framework for those things is that we've got to at least have that as common ground. And I think that's where we're losing some. We're losing a bit of ground. But we're definitely. I'm going to stick to my prediction that on our current course, our current trajectory says we're going to lose the midterms. I don't want that to be the case. Let's see. We are at okay. Oh, I've got plenty of time. Let me get to this next guy, Clavicular. I don't know who Clavicular is. Until today, I found out about Clavicular. Apparently, Clavicular is a he is a groiper. My understanding is he is a Nick Fuentes type groiper. I'm going to play you a little bit of commentary from this young gentleman.
Yeah, but I mean, like this next election cycle, who's going to win? It's going to be Gavin Newsom against J.D. Vance because J.D. Vance is subhuman and Gavin Newsom mugs.
J.D. Vance is subhuman?
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
He's got a very short total facial width to height ratio. He's obese, very recessed side profile, whereas Newsom is like 6'3" Chad.
So JD's very tall. JD's got to be
still
6'2",
I mean
6'3".
Gavin Newsom obviously mugs him to death.
So you're a Newsom head. You prefer Newsom to the vice president.
I'm just telling you who's going to win.
Do you prefer him
though? Honestly, it's hard to say, but Newsom being that much more of a mogger and like having a president who's like fat and especially that young.
You think I don't think he's fat.
I would say
he's a bigger guy for sure.
He's just like, it's just embarrassing. Like, how are you fat and you expect to like lead a country? You can't even be in shape, you know?
Donald Trump is not slim and he's doing a pretty good job running the country right now.
Like let's say you got to vote. It's 2028.
I'm voting
now
for Gavin Newsom.
You're
Just
voting
like
for Gavin Newsom.
You can't be that subhuman.
So you, hold on, you got. All right. Well, this actually is of a thread with the whole conversation, because you look at these two candidates. You have Gavin Newsom, worst governor in the country. I think we would all agree, destroyed his state, let its main city burn to the ground because of his incompetence, is a personal, complete derelict, liar, degenerate. But he is good looking. I'll grant you that he's good looking. Yep. And kind of looks like Patrick Bateman, American Psycho. Hey. And then you have this vice president to President Trump, the transformative right-wing president in our lifetimes, who, do you support Trump or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got this vice president handpicked by Trump, who is extremely intelligent, very right wing. I think he's a pretty good looking guy. I don't know. Maybe I guess you disagree. But is all these things, checks all these boxes, would have all these great policies. And regardless, you're going to pick the mass migrant, pro-trans, pro-murder the babies, pro-burn the cities to the ground, pro-BLM Democrat because he's skinnier than the conservative vice president.
100 times over. Yeah.
Okay, identity politics of a certain form, but identity politics. I said at the top of the show that we were talking about there that some of these people say I'd never vote for JD Vance because he's got a Jeet wife. Now we've got these young people who live in this horribly superficial world. It's all about clicks and likes on social media. And, he goes on. By the way, he had a long conversation with Nick Fuentes where they were talking about going on testosterone and getting jaw surgery and, reshaping their faces and getting leg extensions and things to make them taller, make them look better, make them this, make them that. Entirely superficial. Down to the point that you have now this guy. And by the way, lots of people were commenting on this. I was reading the feeds. And a lot of people buy into this. Is it the primary social movement? No. But it is something based on just basic appearances. And I love how they put in this video, they put the meme version of JD Vance, which is absolutely hysterical. I'll see if I can find the AI one once I get to the comments of him dancing. But nonetheless, this guy, here, let me play the one of Sneeko. That's the one that I really wanted to play that's talking about JD Vance.
I saw the backlash from Clavicular's appearance on Michael Knowles. I think he did a great job. And they're all really upset that he said JD Vance is subhuman. Because he is. JD Vance is subhuman. He has a recessed maxilla. He's sub 5. He's married to a G. His wife literally eats shit. It's disgusting. He's fat. He's overweight. His kids have poop DNA. I'm not voting for him simply because JD Vance, he's connected to Palantir. Probably got raped by Peter Thiel. Complete subhuman.
This is the type of content that the Fuentes crowd is ginning up. Is this the basis for a successful political movement? Is this the basis for America first, baby? This is what's going to drive. We can't let ourselves. I don't want this country. I definitely don't want the right to become this low IQ. It goes on, the video does, and I'm not going to play the rest of it, but nonetheless, you get the idea. And if anybody wants to say that, oh no, he's not a groiper. Here's the two of them sitting down.
Yes,
I mean,
I'm
they're
getting on trend. We're going to do a protocol.
Not trend. So the thing about steroids that happens to a lot of people.
So here they are, 20-something-year-old dudes, these young guys, and they're talking about steroids and jaw surgery and like I was talking about before. These are confused people is the way I look at them. I think these are confused, and I understand. Part of me understands how we got this movement, whatever you want to call it. It's not America first. This new woke. I mean, I hate to use the James Lindsay term, but the woke right. But how we got this new version of the right, and it is a response to the left, but all they know are leftist tactics. Presumably, this is my assumption because this is what they were taught in high school. This is what they were taught in college. This is how the left does it, so let's just do the same thing to them. We'll use identity politics against the left. Young men being told that, you are less than, you are this, you are that. And they say, well, here's my response to it. And it's something that is destructive to A, our movement, but B, long term, it's going to be destructive to the country. It's not helping anybody. Nobody benefits from that. And these are the last ones I'm going to end on, and then we're going to get to the comments because I'm dying to get into the comment section here. These are the things that worry me, that I feel like we should be focused on. Aside, we got immigration, we got to walk and chew gum at the same time. But I do look to Europe, and I look to Canada and countries that are going through horribly immoral social, movements, terrible things going on in these countries. And I see that as what we need to stave off because it will make its way here. This is something that they're pitching in Canada. Canadian prisoners opt for government-assisted suicide rather than to live behind bars. People that are they don't have it's this, well, I'm going to go behind bars. I'm now given this option to end any version of suffering in my life. And I think that, by the way, I think it's another piece of some of these young folks. It's the pain threshold for life. And we can all go through it, but I don't think they have a pain threshold for life. And their only way to act out is to just, go yard on whoever they see as their opposition. But the left, people that don't have a moral compass, they're saying, well, you can just unalive yourself. And the government will pay for it. The government will help you. Instead of going to prison and paying for your crimes, getting out and rehabilitating yourself, we'll just unalive you. And I hate the fact I have to use that word. Nick Fuentes told us not too long ago that we got to give up on the free markets. We got to have health care. He says, health care is universal health care, paying off student loans, all these socialist ideas. We're going to have to bring that stuff in. Socialized medicine. This is the type of thing that you get. There is an attack on Christianity across the country. Churches, another one. There's been 200 and some odd churches, 123 churches total have been burned in Canada. It's attacking the very moral principles. And yet we have people on the right who say they carry those same moral principles, but the utterances from their mouth do not say that. Yet people who don't go to church are getting their spiritual guidance from a Nick Fuentes, who says he's a Catholic and a Christian. They don't know any better. So this is all, and I know I rushed through these last few stories because I want to get to the comments, but we've got really, really big issues that we have to face in this country. And here we are fighting with ourselves. And here we are listening to people who are, they're grifters. Grifters. All right, let's get to comments. Okay, let's see. Ooh, boy. Wow, you guys burning up the comment section. I love it. I absolutely love it. Everybody's fighting for the Ben and Megan are fighting for the number one spot here early on. Oh, boy. Nick and Myron on this. Yeah. Okay. So that's the other one is George Farmer, Meg. I was looking at Megan. I was looking at your name. Candace's husband. Candace's husband is very close friends with the Tate brothers. Very close. We know their position on things. So it's birds of a feather. Did I miss a lot? How long have y'all been? Okay. Oh, that was early on. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Hey, we got somebody from New Zealand. Well, Jennifer, welcome from New Zealand. Snapple Apple in the house. Well, let's see. The woke right is I think I played this before. I think I put this up before, Ben. But the woke right is bringing identity politics back in a new package. That's what it is. Candace Owens is BLM in a new package. That's really what it's become. Let's see. Yeah, I know. I agree. And some people will say that you got to have conversations and it's all that. And I agree. People can have conversations. Jake from Rattlesnake, I watched them, and Andrew Wilson. I think Andrew Wilson is a very good, he's a fantastic debater. But when they debate, they're typically debating on the social sphere, and I guess that, yeah. Here's the way I look at it. I'm not going to have a conversation with those guys. I can't imagine a world where I would. I mean, I could sit down and probably debate one of them, but do you really think you're getting a substantive conversation out of somebody like that? I don't know. Let's see. Myron's. Megan. The snow blow. Rabbit nose twitch from storing too much. Rabbit nose twitch. Let's see. Brian Harple is gearing up to sue Candace. That would be interesting. I hadn't heard that. I hadn't heard that at all. I'm going to rephrase about something that I said a little while ago. I think having the conversations is a good thing. But I just don't think that it's welcoming people into the movement. That's really my big issue. I shouldn't say it's the conversations. So Jake and Andrew having conversations, I think that's probably a good thing. A debate is probably a good thing. But saying that they are part of the movement, or even more importantly, I think it's really people that want to welcome them in with open arms. Look, you can do your own thing on your corner of the internet. Fine, go do it. If you want to debate. Well, we can have a debate. But yeah, it's saying that they're part of the movement, or no, you're your own thing. Like, we don't get on board with that. Myron was indeed a Fed. Yeah, he was. I think he was DHS, wasn't he? Wasn't he Department of Homeland Security? I think that's what he was. When you say Jake, were you talking about Jake from Rattlesnake? I think. Let's see. Ben Fuentes. Yeah, I said this early on. I was like, oh man, is he a Fed? I really thought that he might have been. I don't know that he is. He's been canceled from everything, but there was a phase where people were making Fuentes videos and the left was pushing it. And by the left, I mean social media. He was skyrocketing to the front of the feed. Candace is an easier one because she is, she's a little more palatable, I guess. And she's attacking a lot of the same people that the left is attacking. Yeah, I've heard people say this too. Let's see. Do you think as a former Fed that Myron would know how an investigation works? Yeah, well, there's a great point, Ben. Myron, as a Fed, you would, like I was saying before, that this guy he says, oh, I've done investigations. Good. Yeah, then you should know that these things aren't open to the public. Like, none of it's open to the public. And he should know the value of protecting the prosecution to make sure that you can have a fair trial, that you're not going to run the risk of a mistrial or something like that. Let's see. Yeah, boy, he's full bore on that one. Like, I mean, that's all of his content. There's some he does the stereotypical thing with like the big nose, and he'll put on the hat with the curls and all that, and he'll be sitting there throwing out money. I mean, he plays into every stereotype, Man jamming the fact that Myron was a fetish. Myron. Yep. Let's see. I'm gonna put this one up because I don't know if you heard about oh gosh, what's his name? Starts with a V, I think, like Veracity or Virility, whatever it was. That some of his leaked stuff from his previous life came out onto the internet. Bless his heart. Although I think he was trying to hide it, or he had hit it and moved on. He says he's moved on from that life, but he's kind of it all got brought out. Yeah, it was some pretty bad stuff. And of course, Nick Fuentes and the Destiny scandal. That, I'm not saying that it was the guy in the video that was. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to elaborate on it too much. But there's a streamer called Destiny. Destiny is well known to be he's got moral problems. Let's just put it that way. When it comes to his relationships, he was in an open marriage, and there was a video that got leaked of him in a compromising situation with somebody else, and you couldn't see who the other person was. And then a lot of people said it was Nick Fuentes, and Nick Fuentes in his video, he said it was so weird. I watched it and it wasn't saying, no, that wasn't me because I'm not that way. He said, no, I don't have a bracelet like that. And that person was wearing a bracelet. And so he's like, I had to check, but he said, no, I don't have a bracelet like that or a mark on the arm. It was something weird. It was just, and so I couldn't tell if he was trolling or, if he was, I don't know. It was really weird. It's questionable with a lot of those guys. Let's see. People kissing up to Candace are so gross. I'd be so embarrassed for them. Most of them weren't particularly awful. Bill, Myron, Ian. Yeah, gosh. I don't know the crazy village lady. I don't know who that is. But, boy, I know Ian Carroll has been, he's still going full bore, He's not slowing down at all. That's for sure. Let's see. I need Jason to help out here. I'd love to give this guy a shout out. Also, oh, let's see. Is Jason? I don't even know his first. Are you talking about Jay Witt? Is that who you're talking about? Let me go down because I'm way behind on the comments. I'm like so far down here. Let's see. I'm gonna scotch down just a bit here. Ian Carroll was. Let me get to the updated comments here. Exactly. I don't think they care. It's about destroying TPUSA. Golly, I need to get a better piece of software to manage the chat. You guys are blowing it up. This is great. I hope California brings lawsuits against Newscomb for what he has done. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. Although he might be your next president. Our next president. Good gracious. Let's see. That's kind of funny because... yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, they're not super friendly, honestly, with Islam isn't with women. I know that firsthand. You get women dressed up like beekeepers hiding behind walls, and it's pretty gnarly. Let's see. Or at least he refused the platform. California is cooked. Yep. Let's see. Myron is... No, I think you're right here with Andrew. Andrew he's focused on a lot of Christian I don't want to even say apologetics, but it's debating the culture. He's very good. I watched him on Patrick Bet David. He did a really good job. And sometimes his delivery is just it's not necessarily my preference, but Andrew Wilson is you cannot, deny that the guy is an amazing debater. And he goes on these 6-hour-long whatever podcasts and debates people. It's wow. It's crazy. Let's see. The problem is that Andrew Wilson thinks his opinion is correct and there's no wiggle room with him. He's wrong about things, but people like Jake listen to him whether he's right or wrong. I would be interested to see where you differ with him, Megan, on some of his opinions, because I don't agree. It's not that we have to agree with every opinion, but I think that what he tries to get people to do successfully, or I won't say successfully, I think the right approach that he has is getting people, like reducing people down to their worldview. Like, what's driving your worldview? Is it biblical principles? Is it moral relativism? What's telling you that this is right or this is wrong? And he does a pretty good job at that. But yeah, you're right. I don't agree with him on everything. I find AW to be, let's see. Oh, so here we go. I find Andrew Wilson to be insufferable. He is so rude, condescending, and disrespectful. I can't take him seriously. Okay. I will say this is part of what I don't enjoy about him is the profanity is not necessary. And not that, look, I sound like a prude. I spent 20 years in the military, guys. Well, I'll say 10 years. I spent 10 years in the reserves, but the 10 years in active duty, foul language does not bother me. But in public, in polite company, I start to think that you sound like an idiot the more you cuss, you know? So I try not to all that often, just because I feel like it doesn't represent well. And so he does it for sport, and that's fine. He can do it. But he is very condescending, and yeah, he can be disrespectful. But I try to at least just listen to the points that he's making. So I get where you're saying. He turns a lot of people off. He really does. Oh, that's interesting. Ian Carroll admitted to Roseanne it wasn't organic. Yeah, you're talking for the organic, his reach. Is that what you're talking about? I might have missed a part of the conversation. Yeah, Beryllium. That's what it was. I was right. Beryllium. And look, the reason I kind of say it, bless his heart. If he's tried to move on from that part of his life and people are dragging him through the mud over it, I kind of feel bad for the guy. But you also didn't take the X account down that had all this content on it. So what communications were still going on with people? If you're out of that lifestyle, the account gets deleted, and who cares? Don't post on it anymore. Let's see. That's an interesting thought. There you go. Andrew Wilson is a narcissist, but sometimes that is useful. But if Candace taught us anything, it's that their usefulness isn't worth it in the end. Okay. I mean, I kind of see where you're coming from on that. I don't know if I see him as I just think he's, because I kind of draw a distinction between a narcissist and somebody with just a big ego. Narcissists there's a whole personality disorder around narcissism, and it's very, very destructive. But if you just have a big ego, that I can kind of take it and leave it. I think he makes some pretty good arguments, I'll be honest. Let's see. I think the JD still like JD over to there you go. I still like JD, but I'm open to others for 2028. Yeah, I am too. I don't think we should. I still like Eric Trump. I like let's explore some other options other than putting the stamp on JD Vance. However, it would serve us well if we were still a unified movement to say that this is the guy that's going to carry us forward into the next election and give us some of that predictability. But it's still, I mean, we got, a couple of years until we got to figure all that out. But I like JD now. Yeah, I do. And let me say, I like JD the way he presents himself, but I am still, and I was then and still am, a little bit skeptical. I maintain a healthy level of skepticism over JD Vance because he was kind of this out of the nowhere dude that just popped onto the scene. Next thing you know, he's the vice president, and we don't know a ton about him other than the book that he wrote. I don't know. I like him. He's funny. He's quick, but that's not everything to me. How MAGA is he going to be? How conservative is he actually going to be? Yeah, and he is close friends with Tucker. And if you've been watching this channel, I've got a lot of beef with Tucker. Okay, to answer you guys are so much faster in the comments than I am. Yes, Jay Witt. Yeah, Jay Witt, I watch his show. It's pretty good stuff. He seems like a really good dude too. Yes, Paramount Tactical is further debunking Mitch's story. Okay, and Gary, I think is his name, over at Paramount Tactical. He seems like such a stand-up guy, and he's been doing great work. I'm super impressed with him. Super impressed with him. And he seems to be fence-sitting a bit. I don't like that. I like men of principle. Yeah, and I'll be honest. a lot of I listen to JD Vance when he's talking. I tend to prioritize my time because I have several jobs and I've got a business that I'm running and I have a limited amount of time. So I tend to go to Donald Trump. And if I'm going to prioritize, JD Vance as the vice president is going to be second. So I haven't listened to a lot of his stuff lately, but he can sit down and deliver. And he does so very succinctly and in a way, honestly, that I prefer over Donald Trump's delivery. But I listen to Donald Trump because he's the man. He's the boss. So I'm going to listen to him first. And when I have more time, I sit down and listen to JD. Is Destiny? No, definitely not. Definitely not. Destiny. Let's see. Please help to not elect Newsom. He spends more time. Although I will say I wear a hat for a very good reason. And it's because I am a very, very bald guy. I lost my hair a long time ago. And I said, no, I'm clinging on to scraps. So I'm going bald. And I respect a man with a good head of hair. Not that I'd ever vote for him, but that you got to admit the guy's got a beautiful head of hair. Let's see. Yeah, and Yuck too, and lots of chats like Lady Luck Club too. Yeah, and Yuck 2.0, there's a lot of chats like Lady Luck Club too. Okay, here you go. Andrew's used to debating low IQ leftists, so he usually wins and isn't used to this. I've heard, people used to say this about Charlie Kirk too, that he was going to college campuses and, all the videos that people see, it's the destroys, he destroys, he destroyed, that sort of thing. And the criticism from people on the left is that they're kind of punching down, but that's not really the purpose of it. Andrew, when he goes on the Whatever podcast, I can't imagine that's a very difficult debate in any circumstance, the people that they have on there. And I'm trying to remember any of the ones. He's gone up against some Muslim debaters and people that he's more than held his own. He wipes the floor with them. But yeah, you're right. A lot of his stuff is the lower IQ thing, but he's kind of like myself, more or less fell into this world. So I can, I can sympathize with him there, or not relate to him there. Andrew is Orthodox. I know somebody put that comment in here. So this is an interesting one. I had a video, I didn't play it, and I'll play it now so you guys can see it. And the question I was going to ask you was, if I got into a conversation about Israel, I was going to say, is this a leftist or is this a new version of one of these new right-wing people? Let me see if I can find it. I had the video. Oh, here we go. And the point I was going to make is, can you really tell the difference? Because the left hates Israel, obviously, and so does this new version of the right. Here you go. Watch this.
Sam, that's not how we do it. Let me show you how we take care of the creature. Let me show you how we take care of the creature. Go, Rita! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Rita! That's how it's done. Yeah! Okay, calm down.
I was like, okay, is that one of the new right-wing people, or is that a lefty? I can't really tell. I don't really know. I think the level of vitriol is about the same when people bring up Israel. All right, let's see. Where'd my chat section go? Oh, lost my chat box. There it is. Okay. Well, we get caught back up again. I think Joel is repressed. Freedom. Yes, Freedom Tunes is good. The oh gosh, what's the guy's name? He's been on Tim Pool. Is it Seamus? I think is his name. Seamus. Yeah, Freedom Tunes is pretty funny. Free shout out for Freedom Tunes. Let's see. Oh my gosh. No, it wasn't. So the one I was talking about before, Muhammad Jihad, Muhammad Hijab. No, it wasn't Muhammad Hijab. It was, oh my gosh, Andrew Wilson. Because you guys need to see it. The debate it was interesting. They were debating this child bride thing. And the Muslim guy he was debating was making a case for it. It's really wild. Debating child brides. I'm going to totally mess up his name when I find it. Oh, here we go. Daniel. Oh, dadgummit. Doesn't show his name. Here, I'll show you the picture of the guy so you can see it. Because it's worth checking out. Just search Andrew Wilson debates Muslim about child brides. It was this guy. And this guy and one of his buddies popped on to the PBD podcast. And it was wild because PBD brought on 2 Christians along with him and one of his buddies, and they were making the case for apostasy and the death penalty for apostasy. And they say, yeah, absolutely. So if you want to know, when you follow it to a T, yes, there's the death penalty for apostasy. There's, legal child brides, all that kind of stuff. That when you follow it to a T, that's where you end up. Not what I would call the most American set of ideals. And that's why it is, their ideals are antithetical to the West. They are antithetical to not just the U.S., but they've dropped themselves in France and Belgium and, Germany, the U.K. It's antithetical. The way they live is antithetical to the morals and principles that we're supposed to have. But the suicidal, what do they call it? The suicidal empathy that the left has is what has led to, bring in more of them. Tim Walz said it. In fact, Tim Walz is saying it. I didn't get to this part before I got to the comments, but Tim Walz, he didn't just say that, let's see, let me find it here. I didn't play the other clip from that other guy. Anyway, that's fine. Tim Walz, he didn't just say, we need to find out about the fraud. He said the fraud is white supremacist. And here's what he says about Somalis.
What can you say
Check this
about
out.
the latest on the Somali fraud that happened under your watch, sir?
Governor, have you been able to apologize yet to the people of Minnesota for allowing this Somali fraud to continue under your watch?
Of the people of Minnesota.
Is it time to apologize? How about the whistleblowers that you have allegedly retaliated against? Would you like to respond to the whistleblowers?
And right now, our neighbors are being demonized. Our neighbors are being terrorized. Our neighbors are being picked up off the streets. The antidote to that is positive actions to improve lives that go against what they're trying to do. So instead of demonizing our Somali community, we're going to do more to welcome more in and welcome people there.
So now we're going to double down. This fraud, them stealing billions of taxpayer dollars, well, people are calling that out. That's racist. People are deporting the illegal immigrants, and that's racist. So what are we going to do? We're going to bring in more of them. Wow, daycare, if you want to get into a business in Minnesota, daycare is where it's at, I hear. There was a meme going around of, I'm not going to look it up. There's some funny memes out there about it. I don't think it's empathy on the politicians' end. It's power and greed. No, I think that I would disagree with that one, Catherine. I think that I don't think it's with the politicians. I think it's with the leftists. The politicians, they just do whatever they're told, whatever will get them reelected. My opinion would be that it's suicidal empathy by leftists. So if I said politicians, I apologize. I don't mean that. I think it's by the leftists. It's welcome everybody in, anybody and everybody. Come on in. We've got plenty of money here in America. And I've heard some people on the conservative side that aren't really attuned to politics say, but we have so much here in America. We have so much. Why are we not helping all of these people? And my answer is no, we don't have anything because we're, $36 trillion in debt. So our kids come out of the womb owing $100,000 to Uncle Sam. We ain't got nothing. The coffers are empty. We got to start cutting back. But the left doesn't. They don't work in the reality. They don't function inside of reality. Is it really? Yeah, I haven't heard that yet. I haven't delved into it. I saw the report. I saw a lot of the speculation online, and yeah, it seems weird. Oh, that's who it was. Hikikachu or whatever it was. That was that guy's name. David, I think, Hikikachu or whatever. Yeah. Thank you. You reminded me. And I think it's funny. Isn't that one of the Pokemons? Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. Hey, oh, you're Brazilian? Yeah, it's everywhere. It's not just in, ain't just there. It's everywhere. Yeah, it is everywhere. Okay, boy, guys, I have gone well past the hour. Let me see. I'm sure I missed comments. Let me see if I can, again, my software doesn't tell me. I need to pull up my YouTube chat. Let's see who the number one chatter was tonight. Who's number one on the Continue Freedom live stream tonight? If you're new, by the way, guys, I'm going to, let me ask you, please hit that subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell. It really helps me out. And check in every now and then on the live stream because people still get fail to get notifications. YouTube is they are not our friends. Let's see. Continue Freedom. Who is the number one chatter tonight? Let's see. People. Let me mute myself. I don't like hearing my own voice. All right, number one. X Samurai is number one. There you go. X Samurai is number one. Megan, number two. Catherine, number three. And that's all it gives me is a top three. So there you go. Guys, thank you all so much. I truly appreciate it. And here's what I love. Today, I noticed it when everybody was popping into the chat. And it's just, hey guys, the community here, this is what we're trying to build. We're trying to build a community of like-minded people that are equipped to go out into the world and talk about this stuff and communicate this stuff. And you all make it happen. Every time you hop into a live stream, I'm appreciative. God bless you guys. And just one final notice to anybody who happens to be new, hit that the subscribe button, like button, and the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is released. God bless you guys. And if you can, by the way, I think it was, who was it? IDK, who was the one? If Jay Witt ever wants to do one, I'll pop over into his chat as well sometime and say, hey, let's do a collab. But I think that'd be a blast to do one with him. So God bless you guys. Have a fantastic evening, and I will talk to you in the next live stream. And if I don't see you before then, have a happy new year. God bless, guys.